Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Promise Ekeh, and in this video we'll be continuing our Code April series. The last video we walked through the week 1 exercises, and this video I'll be continuing from week 2. If you missed the week 1, in order to follow through, just go back. I'll put a link for you to click to go watch week 1. But yeah, we'll be starting from week 2. That's from our day 8 to day 14. So let's go along. Remember, this notebook would be available on my GitHub. I'll put a link in the description, and make sure you also click on it to just go download the notebook so that you're able to, so you can follow along with me. Our focus for day 8 was Python dictionary methods, and so Python dictionary methods. So the first question for day 8 was, what is a dictionary? What is dictionary in Python, and how is it different from lists? So dictionary in Python is a collection of key value pair, and each key is unique in your dictionary. It's different from lists where you have just different items, but with dictionary you have key and your value, so every key has a corresponding value. With list you could have duplicate items in your list, but with a dictionary you can have duplicate keys. So you can have duplicate values, but in dictionaries you can have duplicate keys. Python lists are indexed, but with keys, with dictionaries, you index using the key itself. Okay, so let's go. So write a Python code to demonstrate different dictionary methods. So we'll do that in the subsequent questions. So the third question for day 8 was, create a dictionary inventory representing the count of the first item in a store. So let's say we are in a store, so we want to get the count of, for example, you have apple, how many apples you have in your store. So we have this inventory as apple, blah blah blah. So now the first dictionary method, so let's just split this. So let's split this. Okay, so we have our dictionary. So let me just print out inventory dictionary here. So I have my dictionary. So now they say I want to remove the 7th item. Actually, let me split this. So to remove the 7th item, so if I print pop pitch, so it shows that pitch had been removed. So pitch number was 9. So now if you look at our dictionary, pitch has been removed. So you want to calculate the sum of items in the dictionary. You could just say inventory. So let's do sum. So if you do, so let's say dictionary method, if I want to see all my keys in my dictionary, if I do dictionary.keys, shows you all the keys. If I do dictionary.values, returns all values in the dictionary. So now I want to sum dot values. So I want to sum all the numbers. So if I do this, returns all the sum of items. So for example, this is a shop. You say that you have 70 items in your shop, so that's how you return the sum, the total count of all items in your dictionaries. So they say, okay, add 5 more to the first item and 3 more of the 6th item. Let me just break this down. So 5 more of the first item. So let's see, what's the 5 more? The first item of the first item. The first item is apple. So how many apple initially was 10. So by the time I add 5 more to apple, I have 15 apples, now 15. Then say 3 more. Let's say 3 more. Let me just take this out. So let me just split this. Okay. 3 more to the 3rd item. 3 more to the 6th item. So what's the 6th item? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our pair is so pair initially was 7, and now our pair would be, yeah, so pair now is 10 initially, so we added 3. Then this last, say remove the 7th item from the dictionary. Okay, dictionary dot pop pop item 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's kiwi. So now I've removed dictionary that. Okay, so if I run that, so I've removed kiwi from my dictionary, and now I have my dictionary as this. So I don't think we need this anymore. Okay, so now say print a total count of items in the dictionary. I think we've done this initially, so it's just to print. So now we have 75. It just sums everything up. That brings us to day 9. Day 9, the focus for day 9 was Python tuple and set method. So what's a tuple and set in Python? You could just read through. yeah, read through, which is solve that. I think I have a detailed explanation. So the link to this notebook would be in my GitHub page. I'll put a link down there. So let's just go focus on more coding questions, right? So create a tuple, my tuple containing a sequence of 15 integers. Okay, let's say my tuple is this. Okay, and just make my tuple. Okay, so these are my tuple. Then print. Okay, print the original tuple. I think that's the same thing. Then use the count method to count the number of occurrence of a specific integer. So I want to count how many times an item occurred in my tuple. So I'm counting in 12. 12 appeared 3 times. Yeah, so you can count. Use the count method. Use tuple concatenation to create a new tuple by combining my tuple with another tuple of your choice. So I created another tuple, and you can see, let me print. So this is new tuple. By the time I print this, you see that I have a bigger tuple because I've combined 2 tuples together. So now let's create, the third question says create 2 sets, 1 and 2, containing integer or string. Let's see, okay, we have set 1, set 2. So print the union of set 1 and set 2 using that. So to create, so if you know, did mathematics, union of a set, combining the 2 sets together. And when you do a union, it removes the duplicates from your set. Yeah, so with set items, you don't have duplicates. For example, if you have multiple items inside a set, like duplicate items, if you convert it to a set, it removes the duplicate items. Okay, so union of the sets, so you have this. So what's common in both sets? Then they say print intersection of the 2 sets. Okay, so intersection shows what is common in the 2 sets. So what do you have in set 1 that you also have in set 2? So union combines the 2 sets together and removes duplicates. While intersection, you could say it's the duplicate, what repeats in both sets. That's your intersection. So in this case, we had 4 and 5 in both sets. So the intersection will be 4 and 5. Then okay, so intersection. Then the next question is print the difference between set 1 and set 2. So what's in set 1 that is not in set 2? So if you print this, so this shows you the difference. You can also print the difference between set 2 and set 1. So that is what's in set 2 that is not in set 1. The first was what was in set 1 that was not in set 2. So know the difference. Okay, so let's go on quickly. So it said question 3, this add new element to set 1 using the add method and remove specific item using the remove method. So with set, you could do set.add or set.remove to remove items or add items to your set. Okay, then using the remove to remove items in your set. Then the 10, so day 10, so moving quickly, day 10, say, okay, we're doing advanced control. Focus for day 10 was advanced control flow. So we're doing list comprehensions and lambda function. So this question 1 is explain what a list comprehension are in Python and provide example. So list comprehensions are ways to create new lists from anything or existing lists. So it's more, you see it as your for loop combined. So whether you have multiple lines of for loops, you could have them inside just one line, or you have if statements. So I have a video on my channel where I talked about list comprehension in detail. So this is not aimed to touch that in detail. I'll also put a link for you to go revise that to understand what list comprehensions are. Then lambda functions are, they call them anonymous function in Python. So rather than trying to create new functions every time you want to use it, these are just small functions that you don't have to declare anywhere, and you use it by just calling the lambda, the argument, and the expression you want to do. So in this case, you say, so the first question you say using lambda function to create a function that squares a number. So you just say lambda x. So the x is what the number, the argument you give to it. So and this expression shows what do I want to do with my x. In this case, I want to square. So using the double multiplication sign, double asterisk return shows you that you want to square the items. So by the time you print square, it always returns that, so you can use it inside an argument. So the third question says for the 10 to write a Python expression using list comprehension to achieve the following. So one will use list comprehension to do the following. So 1, create a list containing the squares of numbers from 1 to 10. So you say, okay, it's like I said, it's like a modification of the for loop. You say for x in range 1 to 11, so because we want to use it from 1 to 10, create to square the number, so it prints out the square. So it's the same thing we did using the lambda function. Okay, so this you have done using list compression. You have a list containing all the squares. So you create a list containing even number less than 20. So you can also do x for x in range list if they are even numbers. So remember what we did earlier to check for even number. Use the modulo sign. If it's modulus 2, it's equals to 0. That means that so it's divisible by 2. Yeah. The fourth question says create. So the fourth question, create a list of 10 animals and return a list of animals with more than 4 letters. So we have animal as this. So using list comprehension to get animals with more than 4 letters. So it's okay for animal for animal in animals. So this could be anything. You could do A for A in, and if so, just remember, so anything you use, just make sure A for A. So just make sure that this in, that's what is existing. But this could just be anything you want to call it. You could call it animal, you could call it AN, you could call it AZ. Just make sure that whenever you're using it, it's consistent. So if the length of that is greater than 4, so now we have new new list of animals with greater than 4 letters. So the fifth question says create a list comprehension. Okay, create a list temperature Celsius containing 10 numbers using list comprehension. So this should be create a list of temperature Celsius of 10 numbers. So we have our temperature Celsius. So they say using list comprehension, convert each temperature. So we want to convert each temperature in Fahrenheit and store it in a new variable called temperature Fahrenheit. So we have a new Fahrenheit temperature Fahrenheit, but we want to convert every item in this to Fahrenheit, from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So using this function, remember how to convert. You can just go browse. This is a function to convert from so I think this is not complete. Let's say plus 32. Okay, there should be. Okay, so this is the formula to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So you say the temperature times 9/5 plus 32. So for all the temperatures in, so if you, by the time you do this, if you run that code, you've got to, I think we didn't run this. Okay, by the time you run this, so every item here has been converted to Celsius to Fahrenheit, not Celsius now. So now say store the temperature that are greater than or equal to 28 in a new list. So we want to create a new list called warm temperatures. So but in this case, we want to get only the temperatures that are greater than 28. So this is just the temperature for temperature in temperature Fahrenheit if temperature is greater than or equals to 28. So this is what we have as our new temperature. Okay, that's fine. So you can also do the same thing using lambda function, using this expression, which yeah. So you can do the same thing in different ways depending on what you think works for you. Okay, so the next question is using lambda function, square all the items in temperature Fahrenheit. So we want to square all the items in our temperature. We want to just get the square of all the items, and this will do that for you. So using the lambda function, you can also do the same thing using your list comprehension like this. Okay. Day 11. Day 11 was focused on introduction to Python, NumPy for numeric computing. NumPy means numeric Python. Some people call it NumPy, but better call it NumPy. So what is NumPy and why is it commonly used? So you can just read up this write-up here. Okay, so the next question is this: describe 3 advantages of using NumPy array over Python lists. I think they are faster, they are more memory efficient. Again, you can read up to understand, to read up all that. Then the third question, the third exercise for day 11 now. The third exercise for day 11, yeah, the third exercise for day 11 was to, so it's okay, write a Python code to import NumPy and print its version. NumPy is always imported as NumPy as NP. So then to print the version, just do np underscore underscore version underscore underscore will give you the version of NumPy. In this case, I'm using NumPy 1.26.4, 1.26.4. So now let's say create a list of 12 integers using NumPy. Do the following. So let's first of all create the list. Okay, so we have this list. So create a NumPy array from the Python list. So just do np.array to convert a list to a Python, and you print out your list. So this is your one-dimensional NumPy array. Okay, so to check the type of your NumPy, your array, so I want to know what kind of array do you have, just print NumPy array shows you that it's an ND array. I can do let's do, you want to check the dimension. So the other things you can do, you could do the dimension, no, not the ending, no, end dimension to check. So it's one-dimensional array. Okay, then the next question is create a 2D NumPy array from a nested list. So I also have a video that I talked about NumPy. Again, I'll put a link for if you want to understand. So this video is not aimed to teach you understand the concept of this difference, just to solve these challenges. But I have a video that I explain these different methods, different libraries we're using. So if you want to understand in detail what that is, I'll put a link for you to go watch. But yeah, I'm just attempting to solve these exercises. Okay, so in this case, I create nested lists. So we have a list of, let me split this for a go. So let's say we have this list. Okay, so we have lists containing different items, a list of lists, just put it that way. So we have a list of lists, so we can convert this into let me just use, you can convert this into different lists. So now we have a two-dimensional array. So I can choose to say, okay, let me see what's the dimension of my list, and then shows me nice 2 dimensions. So I have it in 2 dimensions rather, as compared to what I have my 1-dimensional array. Okay, so now let's say reshape. So with there are different things you can do with NumPy arrays. One of them is to reshape. So I have my 1-dimensional array initially. So let's see. So I can reshape this to 3 dimension. You can reshape to 2 dimension, but depends on how you want it. So if I reshape, so I have it as 3 dimensions. So 3 dimensions, more like having two-dimensional array. So I explained this in detail in one of my videos. I'll also put a link for you to go watch that there. Okay, let's just jump quickly to create so 3D array. So we have a 3D nested array, the same thing. So just run that. So you have your 3-dimensional array. So you can, to know your shape, you can do, let's say, NumPy 3D array from lists. So let's see, I can do dot shape. I want to see the shape of my array. So that's the shape. So I have it as 2, 3. So 2, I have it as 3 and 2. So it has 3 dimensions. I can also do ending. So it shows me it's in 3 dimension. Okay. Okay, now so create a NumPy arrays of 0s and 1s. So that's what we call np.0s, np.1s. So you can create an array filled with zeros. So np.0s, I want to give it the shape. So I want it 3 by 4. By the time I print it, I have 3 by 4 dimension. The same thing, I can do the same dimension m. So it's just more like creating an arrays and filling it with 1s or filling it with 0s. Okay, day 12. So we're talking with day 12. The focus for day 12 was NumPy arrays and indexing. So now, what's the difference between copy and view? Copy is more like creating a copy of the previous of a NumPy array, where if you change any item in the copy, it doesn't affect the original. But for view, if you create, just more like creating a view, but if you change an item in your view, it affects the original one. So let's see, let's try this. So this is our original array. So let's just print this. Let's see how that works. Let's see, we printed this original. So creating a copy. So we create a copy of the original, then we change what's in the copy. So we'll change the second item or the first item in the copy, and let's see if it modifies the first one. So let's see. So the original, so this is the copy array, but this is the original one. It doesn't affect it. But if we do the same thing with view, but if we do the same thing in view, it changes the original. So if you don't want to change what you have in your original view, don't you want to change an item and you don't want it to affect the original, you rather use copy instead of view. Okay, what's the difference between np.concatenate and np.stack? These are different functions or methods you can use carry out using your numpy arrays. So we have arrays. So concat, let's see. So you specify the axis and you stack. So let's say for stack along a new column. So you say, let's say we have this. Let me just copy this so that we don't have to use that. So if I say np.stack one, so I want to, sorry, I need to run this. Okay, I run this. So you see, like, since it's along the axis 0, so I want to add them in row wise. But if I want to do this, I can do the same thing. But if I want to do it in axis 1, remember, indexing, the rows are your axis. The rows are your the row would be your index 0, that's axis 0, and the column would be axis 1. So in this case, you're actually, let's print out this. So want to let me see, let me print array 1, array 2, so to see the difference. So let's see, when we did along 0, so we have it as 1 2 3 4, then along the 0, this 1 is just added to the bottom. But for if you're using axis 1, so you see 1 2, it picks the second one, 5 6, then adds the, and I hope you notice the difference between both of them. So if you're adding along axis 3, just picks the first one and adds it. But it picks the first item in the first one and picks the second item, then picks the second item in the first array and picks the second item in the second array. So you should know the difference and know when to use the two of them. So now let's create, the third question is create an array of shape 3 and 4. 3 4, that's 3 rows, 4 columns, using the indexing. So using indexing, so this should be this. So let's just put comma, and using indexing, it will do the following. So this is our array. Let's see array. So if we run this, so we have how many items? 3 different items in that array. So okay, so we want to get the third item in the second row. So the third item in the second row, so we have 1 2, so this is second row. The third item will be 1 2 3. So we want to get 7. How do we get 7? So you remember, we're using indexing. So since we are going for the second row, we'll be using indexing of 1 on the row, and the third item will be second, because indexing always starts from 0, remember. So we're picking 1 for the row and 2 for the column. So we're coming here, so it's picking this. So by the time we run this, is giving you 7, just know. So you say get the last item in the first row, the last item in the first row, last item in the first row. That's the first row, that's 0, but last item you can use -1, that's negative indexing, or you could use 1 2 0 1 2 3. Or if you do this, if you use, instead of using -1 just give me the last item. But if you know your shape, you just do this and still gives you the same item. Okay, say the last item in the last row. So since it's last, just use -1 to give you the last item. Then get the first item in the second row, or first item in the second row. So second row is 1, so no, then get the first item. So we're using indexing of 1 to get the first item in the second row. If you have questions while we're going through, just put them in the comment section, and hopefully me or any other person within the community would help answer your questions. So say get the last 2 columns of the, so I want to get the last 2. So before we've been returning single items, so now I want to return a collection of items in the first 2 rows. So the last 2 items in the first 2 rows. So the first 2 rows will be this. So using your indexing or slicing to get the last 2 items. So this will give you that, and the same thing applies to get the second row of the array. So second row shows you that's the first index, and this just shows you, give me everything within that index. So if you're going through the resources we shared during the challenge, you'll be able to understand this better. Okay, get the last column of the array. This returns, so same thing, just inversing. So the last column, so we want to get the last column in the array. will give you that. Okay, the question 4 for, I think, what day is this again? Let's see. This is day 12. So we're on day 12 now. So let me just collapse this. Day 12. So let's come here. Question 4 for day 12. Let's see. So create 2 number arrays, 3 by 3 arrays. So we have them like this. So we want to concatenate along the vertical axis. So remember, so if you use axis 1 to use it along the vertical axis, you have this. You want to concatenate along the horizontal axis, you have, so it adds it to your columns rather than having it as your rows. Okay, so by using axis 1 or axis 0, so you should know the difference. So question 5 also say create one-dimensional array of 10 integers. Filter even numbers from the array. So you can do filtering using NumPy. So you want to do something like this. So filter, so always remember this your modulo sign to get even numbers. So this just gives you only the even numbers you have in your arrays. So let's see. I didn't run this. Okay, then check if 5 exists. So you want to check, you just do 5 in that. So let me just, rather than having all those things there, so you say 5, you want to check is 5 in 1D array false, because we don't have 5 in the array. So if I want to check, do I have, what else do I have there? Let me say 60. Is 60 in the array? True, because you have 60 in the array. Then sort the array in ascending order. Just do the np.sort, call the array use. It sorts the array for you. Okay, then the sort in descending order, just use your indexing. Just shows more like you're going from the back to the front. That's what this indexing is showing, from the back. Give me everything after from the last to the top. So understanding indexing, so also go read the materials to understand what this indexing is all about. So dating was focused on number array operations, manipulation, aggregation, and statistical functions. Okay, so the first question is highlight some common mathematical operations that can be performed on number arrays. So you could use your element-wise, you could do your element-wise calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and so on. Okay, so now let's just go to more applications. So you could just read up to understand all this theoretical part of it. I'll just be focusing on the coding. So create a number array, 3 by 3 array, and perform the following statistical operations. So math, replace values greater than 5 with 0. So this is, so if you use your MP where to get all the arrays where you have so you said where is greater than 5, so you put the expression, then what do you want to replace with this, and return which array you want to work with. So now everywhere I've add anything greater than 5, it's been replaced with 0. And sort the row based on the second column. Yeah, so you could use the arc sort for number array to sort based on the second column. So I'm using the second column. Yeah, so using index 1, remember indexing. So in the second column has an index of 1. So that's what I'm sorting based on that. So this was my let me see, what was my array initially. Okay, so it's sorted. So I have 286. In this case, I've sorted 268. So it's moved it. So you can do different things. So extract the unique element and the account. So you want to get the count of all the items in your thing. So you can say, okay, if I count it by using the count, so you want to count all the items in the item. So for example, for 1, and I created a dictionary of the count. So this just returns the value. So let me run this. So if you see something, try to break it down if you don't understand. So it's more like counting all the items. So for example, 2, 1, the 1 item, I have 1, 2 ones, 1, 2, things like that. So if you count, this returns the value and the count. So I just zip and created a dictionary of, so 1 appeared 2 times, 2 appeared once, 3 appeared 2 times. So you can just go back and count to see, understand what this does. Also, some other calculations you can do minimum, range, maximum. To get the range, you just use PTP, minimum, just np.min, and that. This returns all the just element-wise calculations in your number array. Wow, this is a lot. To create a number array 4 by 6 between blah blah blah. So in this case, you want to, rather than typing so you can use the np.random to create rather than inputting numbers manually. You could just use the np.random to just randomly generate different items. So using the random seed, it helps you kind of fix that. So for example, if I turn off the seed, every time I run this, you see the values will be different. But with my seed in place, whenever I run it, it makes sure that I have the same item. So with this, shows me that I want items from 1 to, give me random items between 1 and 101, but with size of 3 and 6. So I want size 4 rows, 6 column, more like, yeah, 6 along your vertical axis. So this is what this does, so that yes, you can randomly create numbers. So sort each row in descending order. So I want to sort all the rows in descending order. You can use that function. Then compute. Yeah, so I want to, okay, compute the mean maximum along different axes. So I want to sort, so let me see, random array. So let me see. So if I want to sort along axis 0, so I'll say np.sum. So sum along the 0 axis. So that means if you, in this case, I want to sum along the 0 axis. So I'm summing everything here, like the first this first row, first row. So that's what it returns. It returns 6. To sum along the one that's the axis 1. So you just sum everything. Like, so you return 4 items. You can return the mean, median, and things like that along those axes. So you can also calculate percentile, things like that, using np.percentile. So you want to calculate the 25th percentile, just put random column 25th, 75 percentile, things like that. Then you could also calculate standard deviation and variance, just to np to start. So all these things has been preset. All you just need is start putting your values, know when to call and what to call to what, for whatever you want to do. Then create. Okay, so the last question for day 13 was to create an array of 10 fruits. So this would be create an array of 10 fruits. So but now I want to randomly select any 4 fruits. So I can use numpy to randomly select any 4 fruits. So the size is 4. So just more like random choice, replace any item. Yeah, so just more like randomly select. So if I run this different times, it randomly selects different fruits. But if I use the seed, kind of make sure that that is station is fixed. So you always get the same result using the NPC. But the random, so the idea behind this question is so you know you can randomly select items using your random dot choice np.random dot choice. That is it for week 2. I hope you followed along. I understand that NumPy can really be complex and kind of complicated, but the more you do these things, the more you get used to it. I think it's really interesting if you get to understand NumPy, because they are very powerful when it comes to computation. So if you participated in the challenge, let me know how you found week 2 and which of the days was most difficult for you. If you missed my last video, that was solutions to week 1. I'll put a link somewhere up there. Just make sure you go click and watch it. And the next video would be the week 3 solutions.